What's up, everyone? It's your boy Raji, and today we are looking at Group F of the World Cup. I'm going to be giving my predictions, which teams I think are going to make it out of this group, some of the key players and top performers to watch from this group. Let's get right into it. So, Group F is featuring the Netherlands, Japan, Sweden, and Tunisia. So, in looking at this group as a whole, maybe not the most electric group at this World Cup compared to some of the other ones at this tournament. It's more of an average group that you usually expect to see at this World Cup. However, still very excited for this group. There's a lot of big name players to look out for and some powerhouse teams in this group that we're really gonna have to keep an eye out for later on in this tournament when the knockout stages come along. All right, starting off with the Netherlands, and right off the bat, let's talk about this Dutch defense, arguably the best total defense at this World Cup. The amount of quality that Ronald Koeman brought to this tournament from the Dutch defense. I mean, you could run an 8-back with this formation. Incredible talent. Virgil van Dijk, let's start with him. Arguably the greatest center back of this generation, coming back, probably will captain this team. He's going to be huge. Jurrien Timber just came back from injury, played the UCL final for Arsenal. He's going to be good to go. Mickey van de Ven, if they decide to run the 4-back, you've got him at left back. If not, you can play him at center back. Nathan Ake and Jan-Paul van Hek, both great options as well. And of course, the key to this Dutch defense, Denzel Dumfries, just signed to Real Madrid. The right back, we're going to be playing that entire right wing for the Netherlands. He's going to be contributing big on the offensive side as well. He plays that entire right flank. Denzel Dumfries is going to be huge for the Netherlands. Moving into their midfield, again, super stacked, both and very defensive minded, looking at Ryan Gravenberch and Frankie de Jong. Tijani Reinders, do not sleep on him. Fell off a little bit for Manchester City in the second half of the season, but if Tijani Reinders can get back in form, that midfield is absolutely disgusting and underrated when talking about some of the best midfields at this tournament. And then finally, moving into the attack, Cody Gakpo hasn't really been great since the last World Cup, honestly, but whenever he puts on that Dutch jersey, he seems to power up. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens again. Daniel Malen, great loan season at Roma. He really earned his spot on this squad. You also got guys like Brian Brobby, Memphis Depay. Such a deep team. Somerville, a young guy, he could be very good for them on the right wing from West Ham. This team is so stacked across the board, but also so deep, so much depth on the bench. This Netherlands squad can play 90 minutes plus 30 if needed. This is a team to watch out for, and I'm going to be keeping my eye on them, especially deep in the tournament. Next up, we've got Japan, and this team's potential was really hurt by injuries, unfortunately, losing both Mitoma and Minamino to injuries before this tournament, and those are really brutal losses for this Japanese team. Still got really solid pieces around. Takahiro Tomiyasu is going to be massive on the defensive side for Japan. Takefusa Kubo up top, the Real Sociedad attacker, he's going to have to play a big role. Obviously, also pieces like Daichi Kamada and Wataru Endo, both going to be big, important players for Japan. This roster is kind of hard to judge. I think they could have definitely been a bigger dark horse pick had they still had Karamatoma and Minamino on this team. I think that really limits their potential. But who knows what this group will play out. Japan has played spoiler in the past, and they could do it again. So I'm going to be keeping my eye out on this Japanese team. Next up, we've got Sweden, and this team is insanely lucky to be in the World Cup in the first place. They were absolutely awful in qualifying, finishing last in their group, only qualifying for the European playoffs through the UEFA Nations League. Made the most of it, thrilling game against Poland to qualify for the World Cup, and now they've been placed in a group that they can easily make it out of. All eyes are going to be on that Sweden attack. Viktor Gyökeres, Alexander Isak, and Anthony Elanga. If these three can get going for Sweden, they can absolutely make it out as one of the top two teams in this group. Victor Lindelof in the defense just won the Europa League with Aston Villa. Guys in the midfield like Nieren and Lucas Bergvall. This team has the pieces to make it out of the group and potentially even make it on a slightly deeper run than people think. Very lucky to be here. They've already made the most of their chances. If they continue to make the most of their chances, this team will be in the knockout stages. Finally, we've got Tunisia, and while they topped their group in qualification coming out of AFCON, I think they're going to struggle to make it out of this group. They just don't have the roster compared to teams like Sweden and the Netherlands in this group, and I think even team like Japan, who are injured but still have some very good players on their team, will be able to oust a team like Tunisia. Elias Skiri is going to be the key for Tunisia, but I still don't think this roster is going to be enough to make too much of an impact out of this group. I've got Tunisia struggling at this World Cup. Now, looking at the slate of games in Group F, I really see the Netherlands not conceding any goals at all. I don't see a single team in this group that is seriously going to threaten this Dutch defense. I mean, they could score 3 total goals in this group stage, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, and top this group with 9 points. That's how good this Dutch defense is. For Sweden, they're going to have to find their points through Tunisia and Japan. I think the Sweden-Japan game is going to be a group-deciding game for this group. Sweden is really going to have to perform in that game if they want out. And Japan, if they can squeak out a victory in that game, that could be the difference between them finishing second and third. So this group is definitely up for grabs, but I do think the Dutch and their defense is going to put on a show in this group stage, and I see the Dutch really easily making it out of this group. For my predictions for this group, kind of spoiled it, but yes, I have the Netherlands winning this group pretty easily. In second place, though, I've got Sweden. Third, Japan. Fourth, Tunisia. I have Sweden in second because, yes, I do believe that they will come through in that game against Japan. They showed it to me in qualification playoffs, in the European playoffs against Ukraine and Poland. That attack really came through. They put up the goals. I think they can do it against Japan to make it through out of the group stage. However, I'm not setting in stone that Japan's in third. They could definitely win that Sweden game and end up coming out of the group instead. Unfortunately, for Tunisia, I don't see them really having a great tournament, and I really see them struggling to keep up in this group. Now, looking at some of the top scorers and impact players from this group that I think are going to be massive in Group F, and I'm really looking at 2 groups here, the Swedish attack and the Dutch defense. Let's start with the Swedish attack because I think it's a little bit more up in the air. Alexander Isak, Victor Gyökeres, and Anthony Elanga are going to have to show up for Sweden if they want any chance of making out of this group. Victor Gyökeres is going to be the biggest one, of course. If you want to bet on someone to be the top scorer out of this group, Victor Gyökeres is my bet. He has to show up on the score sheet for Sweden. He did in the European playoffs, and that's why Sweden's here in the first place. But watch out for Victor Gyökeres. That's my guy to watch out of that Sweden attack. Now, looking at the Dutch defense, I'm not really too worried about it, especially with this group. I think they'll be fine. However, if they want to easily top this group, the Dutch defense will have to show up, and the key to that defense, like I said before, is going to be Denzel Dumfries. It runs that entire right flank, and if you want a sneaky, maybe higher value pick for a top scorer out of this group, bet on Denzel Dumfries. This guy shows up on the score sheet a lot for the Netherlands, really pushes up on that attack when he comes in off the right flank. Denzel Dumfries is going to be huge for the Netherlands this entire tournament, and he's going to be a player that I am going to be keeping a heavy eye on at the group stage. Victor Gyökeres and Denzel Dumfries, my 2 guys out of the 2 groups to watch in this Group F. Those are my predictions for Group F. Let me know down below, who do you think is winning this group? Do you like this Dutch defense as much as I do? How do you think the Swedish attack will do? We've still got half of the groups left to cover. Also, if you want to check out my Instagram, we're doing a lot of videos on there, shorter videos, and also videos looking at the lineups, how I think we should be lining up for these teams. Check out my Instagram if you want to see those videos as well. Stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching.